And what's up, folks? Stu Myrick, the one, the only Eddie Cross, ready to recap everything that happened. Dadgummit. I'm going to have to fix it. Hold on. Now try it.
All the feelings and emotions went through my head this weekend.
Believe me. I hope everybody had a good WrestleMania weekend.
We know you did.
I did. It was a fun weekend in Los Angeles. Saw lots of people.
Did you go to Randy's Donuts?
Did not go to Randy's Donuts. I did go to Roscoe's.
All right.
So at least there's that. Did Roscoe's? Was it Saturday morning?
Good morning. Okay. Oh, before NXT?
Before Mania. I didn't go to NXT.
Oh, okay.
I went Saturday morning. So Saturday morning was okay. Well, let's back up. So I get into Los Angeles on Thursday afternoon. Kind of just chilled at the Airbnb, ordered pizza. Kind of just
All right.
And then Friday morning went to they did a press junket with Raw and NXT talent at.
Oh yeah, you had lots of pictures
at the LA Live Marriott. There, right next to Crypto.com Arena and Convention Center. Talked to MVP, Dakota Kai, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Grayson Waller, Alpha Academy, Roxanne Perez.
Nice.
So did that. Got done with the press junket, and it was around noon Pacific. So I said, all right, I guess I'll get something to eat. And I ate at the little restaurant there in the hotel, which, good God, that was a mistake. Burger and a beer for $40. So.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Choking me.
But one cool moment was, so I'm there. I'm kind of finishing up my lunch. I look over to my left, and there's Terry Taylor.
The Red Rooster?
Well, I remember him as the UWF television champion.
I remember him
the
as
master of the 5-arm in Mid-South Wrestling.
Ooh, the 5-arm.
And he was sitting with Fit Finlay.
I remember him from WCW days. I don't even remember the Red Rooster as a character.
Well, in fact, I saw him live when he was in Mid-South Wrestling.
Yeah?
Yeah, in Longview. So, went over there, introduced myself. He was very kind. Got a picture with myself, Terry, and Fit. It was cool. Trying to think, what did I do? So finished that. Oh, after that, kind of just hung around LA Live for a little bit, and then went to the Galen Center for Ring of Honor.
Okay.
Great show. Not only saw my good friend, my dear friend, the legendary, the Hall of Fame photographer, George Napolitano. Got to see him. Saw Mike Johnson from PW Insider. It was great to see him. Adam Wilborn from What Culture Wrestling. He came over. We chatted for a bit. It was great to be with him. Supercard of Honor was fun. Saturday morning, went to Roscoe's for breakfast, and then I went to the Los Angeles County Fire Museum.
Interesting choice.
Because there was a television show back in the early to mid-'70s called Emergency.
Oh, yeah.
I watched that show religiously as a child, and I watch it today on Cozy TV. Well, the Los Angeles County Fire Museum has Squad 51 and both engines 51.
Wow. Does it have
that they
car
use on the
54?
show. Huh?
Does it have car 54?
No, it's fire, not police. It's fire. So I got to pay my tribute to Roy DeSoto and John Gage, played beautifully by Kevin Ty and Randolph Mantooth.
Right.
And got to see the museum. It was really nice. So went back to the Airbnb, kind of chilled out, and then went to SoFi for Mania.
Okay.
Good 2 days of Mania, except for the ending of Sunday.
Yeah.
But
I've
all in
gone
all,
back and forth on that one.
it was a fun weekend, very enjoyable, and so thanks to WWPR, got to chat with Byron Saxton after the night one press conference.
Yeah, that was
very nice guy.
tuxedo.
Nice guy. So
yeah, we learned what the top of your head looks like.
yes.
And as I'm looking at you now, I'm like, yeah, your hair is all brown.
Which
it's like aside from like your temples.
Yeah, well, it used to be blonde.
Yeah.
I used to be a blonde.
You went the wrong way. Or I guess you went the other way.
Well, my mother, God rest her soul, she had the same thing. She was blonde when I was a kid, and then slowly turned kind of, light brown.
Yeah.
So.
But like we were looking for you in the press conference, and we see this guy sitting there, but it's like all just like dark brown hair.
Yeah.
And as I look at you all the time,
yeah,
all I see is gray beard.
Yeah.
I mean, I never really paid attention to your hair. You've always got the headphones on.
Yeah.
And even when you don't, I just look at your face.
I know.
And it's covered in gray. And we see this brown top of the head. We're like, yeah.
And
and Justin's like, well, he sits like Stu, but that's all brown hair, so they can't be Stu. Then we see the other guy was Houseman.
Nick Houseman from House of Wrestling.
See him ask a question, and there you are next to him.
He asked he asked Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman about the at the time pending sale.
Yeah, and
it was fantastic because
that was a waste of a question.
But you had to get it out there. Come on, it was the big story.
Well, they're not going to be the ones to answer anything about it.
It was.
Now, if he sprung it on Triple H, it would have been even better.
Well, he did ask Triple H.
He asked it, but Trips was ready for it.
Yeah,
and he was just ready to dismiss it.
Yeah, and that's fine. But still got to ask.
Yeah, but if you spring it on him,
the funny part was Paul Heyman pointing out that Houseman has a
history,
a tendency to stir up trouble at press conferences.
Kind of like,
of course, kind of referring back to All Out when he had the exchange with Punk.
Well, it's kind of the way some people feel about Ariel Helwani.
Now, to be fair, so Nick is from Chicago. Nick lives in Chicago as well.
Okay.
He has followed both both CM Punk and Colt Cabana. What in the world? We've got NXT on, and they've got a trophy.
Who is that?
It's the Heritage Cup. That's Noam Dar.
Oh, okay.
From NXT UK, and that's the Heritage Cup that they would compete for in NXT UK. We're about to see Nathan Frazier take on Dragon Lee. And they gave him the credit for being not only the CMLL Junior Heavyweight Champion, but the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. So there you go. So anyway, but it was fun.
Last
it was
name on there.
Yeah. So, all right. So we will get into everything. We will start with the sale. We'll talk about that briefly, and. Hey.
Let me see where my stock's at.
I heard it closed at a 4-year high, like $90-something.
Really? Oh, that's the wrong folder. That one. Let's see.
I can tell you now. 97.23.
Oh, so you're doing WWE. I'm talking Endeavor.
Oh, Endeavor. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, WWE closed at $97.23.
It should be higher. Yeah. My Endeavor is at... it's This makes no sense. It's at $23.
Okay, interesting. So anyway,
this is how it's gone last week.
Wild ride. There you go.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's make a little radio magic.
I have about 24. I think when I first opened, it was around 30.
Okay.
A couple years ago.
All right. Here we go.
Hey, this is WWE superstar Bianca Belair, the EST of WWE, and you're listening to Sports Guy Talking Wrestling.
When they're not covering the sports world, they're talking about the world of professional wrestling.
It's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling.
Now, with Justin Simmons, here's Stu Myrick.
Let's go to work, Stu.
I'm back from Los Angeles. It is Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, back from the West Coast. Justin Simmons is taking care of play-by-play duties again. So we call him up from the bullpen. It is the one and only Eddie Cross. Eddie,
You can call me Wild Thing.
are you wild?
It depends on who's asking.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
How was your WrestleMania weekend?
Still, so many emotions, so much laziness, so many fatty foods.
Yeah.
So much time on the couch.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I'm single.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was a fun weekend in Los Angeles. Big thanks to WWPR for taking care of us, and
It didn't rain all weekend.
did not rain. It didn't rain. I think there might have been a very, very brief. It was a mizzle. Wasn't quite drizzle. It was just slightly
I thought that's
heavier
what you
than
called
a
the
mist.
Mrs. Kids.
No.
Little mizzles.
And I'm saying brief. I think it lasted
Mizzlets.
maybe 20 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So,
Just a little spit.
but otherwise, it was a beautiful weekend in Los Angeles. It was mild. It was kind of cool.
Nice.
So it was nice.
Get some beach time.
No beach time. Didn't do beach this time. Didn't have time. So before we get to WrestleMania, we gotta talk
The elephant
about
in the room.
the sale.
Yeah.
It was announced. In fact, so kind of a backstory. So I am. Let's see. This was Sunday. So I had gotten to SoFi Stadium. So they had us. They want to do media check-in at 2:30 p.m. Pacific. So I got to the stadium. I'm there early. Get there a little early. I'm hanging around, talking to a couple other media folks. And I see my good friend John Alba from Ad Free Shows, does the Matt Hardy podcast as well as the Strictly Business podcast with Eric Bischoff.
Right.
He used to work Spectrum Sports down in Central Florida.
Okay.
And had him on the show. He's a great guy. And I hear him on the phone talking about WWE sale, pending sale to Endeavor. So I go and do the search. Sure enough, CNBC had reported that WWE were in advanced talks. Sure enough, then Monday morning,
Advanced.
we wake up, and there it is. The press release reads, Endeavor Group Holdings, Inc. and World Wrestling Entertainment, Inc. today announced that they have signed a definitive agreement to form a new publicly listed company consisting of two iconic complementary global sports and entertainment brands, UFC and WWE. Upon close, Endeavor will hold a 51% controlling interest in the new company, and existing WWE shareholders will hold a 49% interest in the new company. So, I think the press release says the transaction, quote unquote, the sale should be completed in the second half of 2023 of this year.
Well, they said they thought they were going to go public around in like 4 to 6 months, so it might be a little longer than that.
Well, that'd be the second half.
And you want to know what this has done for my Endeavor stocks, Stu?
What has it?
Jack squat.
I know.
Nothing.
Boy, I tell you what, WWE stock is through
I
the
got
roof.
3 shares.
Wow.
I need to make it 4 shares just so I can do it like this.
There you go.
Do the 4. But I got 3 shares of Endeavor, and it's still under $100.
So it's going to be the structure right now is going to be where Ariel Emanuel, who's the CEO of Endeavor, he will continue to be the CEO. Let's see, Vince McMahon will
is he going
still
to be the CEO of Endeavor or the new
of
company
Endeavor
or both?
No, he will be the new company. He'll be CEO of the new company
Because Endeavor is a big umbrella corporation.
I know.
It has a lot of things under it.
I know.
So
Vince McMahon and Mark Shapiro, who will be president and chief operating officer of both Endeavor and the new company.
Okay.
Dana White will continue in his role as president of UFC. Nick Khan will serve as the president of WWE. Board of directors will consist of 11 members who will be appointed at a later date. 6 appointed by Endeavor, 5 appointed by WWE.
And one of those 5 is the executive chairman.
Vince. Well, yeah. So, So what does all this mean? Well, first of all, after 70 years, starting with Vincent J. McMahon, there will no longer be a McMahon at the top of the company.
And what he bought that from his dad for like $1 million?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just sold it for $9.
I think it's
billion?
valued at $9.1 billion with a B. So, the two big thoughts that I had. All right, so their TV rights deals, they expire in 2024. Mm-hmm. How will those be affected? How will the negotiations be affected? That's more of a just we're asking now, knowing that it could take a while before we get an answer.
Right. And I know, NBC Universal wants to keep Raw.
And Fox.
And probably Peacock.
I'm sure Fox wants to keep SmackDown.
Yeah. So,
we'll see, that's the other question. How will their, having the stuff on Peacock be affected?
Right. I think the biggest deal is going to be the streaming. And I think they're probably going to put those two together, and it'll be massive. And with that,
but
the biggest is going to be.
Well, UFC though has the deal with ESPN,
right?
So they're going to have to figure out.
And I'm sure they've already
who goes where. I'm sure there's.
And I'm like I know nothing. I'm just spitballing.
Right.
But I know there's 2 companies that are trying to get into serious sports and have tons and tons of money. That's Amazon and Apple.
Yeah.
And they have big streaming platforms that they need to push more people to.
Apple TV Plus currently has the Major League Soccer deal.
And Amazon Prime has One FC out of Singapore.
As well as Thursday Night Football in the NFL.
Yeah. And they paid like $1 billion for Thursday Night Football?
Yeah.
You think they're getting a return on investment on that? No. They will drop that in a heartbeat for WWE and UFC. So
we'll see. We'll have to see how that works.
There's going to be a lot more money flying around pretty soon. I don't think ESPN's going to be a bigger player with as much as they're spending on college football and NFL.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The talk has been
the
talk has been they have faith in Triple H, Paul Levesque, as chief content officer.
They should,
and they want to keep it that way. Now
we
will see.
Weekend, I gotta wonder.
And we'll get to that. We'll get to that here in a bit. We'll see, but we'll see what happens. So, I mean, right now, I think a lot of stuff is TBD.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. We don't know.
That's what I try to tell myself going into Monday night.
It was funny. So I had the pleasure of being on the Team 92.1 FM up in Tyler with my good friend Bill Coates.
Okay.
Did his show, and he was asking me about it. And I think, up front, the average fan, at least for now, is not going to notice anything. They won't. They don't see anything. I don't think they're going to change anything as far as presentation or anything like that. At least not now.
No.
So,
as far as those things go, WWE is much higher on the production scale than UFC, so you don't have to worry about that. I don't think the average wrestling fan needs to worry about anything except for Vince having his fingers in things. I think UFC fans are more worried about it than wrestling fans.
Yeah, and I get that. But like I said on your show, UFC already borrows from WWE.
Right.
Entrance music, that type of thing.
I'd like for them to borrow more, but I know Dana has always wanted to keep away from wrestling for fear of people thinking it's rigged because boxing has gone through that for so long.
Right.
So he tries to keep it away from that. This isn't going to help, and especially those people, those conspiracy nuts that already think certain fights were fixed because of the way they turned out with bad judging.
Right.
So that's not going to help.
Yeah. So we got the sale talk out of the way. Let's talk about WrestleMania.
All right.
2 nights at SoFi Stadium. I will say night 1 was significantly better than night 2. Not just because of the ending of night 2, but it was the flow of the matches, the pace,
the intros.
I was in the press box. We got to Rhea and Charlotte, and I looked at my watch. I was going, "Dang God, that thing went fast." They'd only been going for like maybe an hour or 2, and that was the next to the last match. I was like, okay. I mean, it just felt like it went smoother and cleaner and everything. Night 2, a little more plotting. There was a bit more filler.
I can definitely say zoned out more night 2.
Yeah.
And I had other things going at the same time on night 1.
So, and we let's straight to the main event. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, undisputed Universal title. Going in, I felt like this weekend was the perfect weekend for the downfall of the Bloodline.
Right.
And by that, I meant all 3 of them losing all their belts.
Right.
They got part 1 right with Kevin and Sammy winning the tag titles. And it really felt like part 2 was going to happen.
Yeah.
But then the Roman Reigns playbook that they have used quite a bit here lately.
And it's classic stuff.
Well, it's not. I wouldn't say it's classic. It's repetitive.
Well, to me, it's so.
Usos run in, interfere. Solo runs in, interferes. Solo does something.
Samoan Spike.
So yeah, and then in Sunday night's case, it was Samoan Spike, spear, pin.
Yeah, it was very
Roman
4 horsemen.
retains.
Very 4 horsemen.
Yeah, except
no, it just is.
Here's the problem. And full disclosure, I mean, those of you listening to this show, you know my connection with Dustin Rhodes. And I do consider Cody a friend. I've had him on the show multiple times.
I think there's a picture right
Back in
behind me
there is a picture
Oh, there it is.
of the 3 of us, me, Dustin, and Cody. But I can say objectively, WWE missed the spot.
Yeah, I have 2 minds about it, and that is the main one. It's like you had lightning in a bottle. You had this moment that would last through generations, and do you feel that you could recreate that? They must think that they can do it again or make it even bigger because they really, really missed the spot. It's like Kofi Mania or Rey Mysterio winning the title. You could have had that, but possibly even bigger. And you passed on it because you think you can do it again or do it better. But at the same time, for the last couple weeks, it's kind of been in my head that I'm not completely sure that the way that this thing is gone, that Cody is set up to be a long-term leader in the company because so much of this was based on the Dusty storyline. It wasn't just like based on just him by himself. It's like Dominic can be good, but right now he's being carried by the thing with his dad. Cody, we know, is great, but so far it's just been all about his dad and how much of that can he carry forward.
See,
But
I
now-
don't see it that way.
But now I think the way they're setting it up, that it won't be so much about Dusty and him finishing the story as in him going through his own hard times.
But you see, that's not
get back to it.
And I disagree. And I had this is where I had a problem. So in the press conference, Triple H, and in fact it was John Albert, asked him about the process of the creative, and he kind of put it, dragging this on.
Mm-hmm.
And Triple H mentioned something about the story never ends.
The road goes on.
And
forever.
I said, and I was thinking, okay, yeah, the continuing thing of WWE, yeah, that never ends.
Right.
But Cody's could have been finished.
Or at least close a chapter.
That's I didn't like the way they answered that. And I've heard all the things about the money, and look, I grew up in the days of Flair and Dusty and Sting and Flair, and the money's in the chase. All right, I get that. But you build this storyline up over the last 9 months. And by the way, I think Cody's absence because of the torn pec actually helped it.
Yeah. Agreed.
You hear how over he was, and look, we were standing on the floor of SoFi Stadium during that entrance.
Mm-hmm.
He's over.
Hey, what was with the wings?
Over like we're over it. I don't care. Stop. What wing? Oh, what wing? What are you talking about? Wings?
He had wings on his back of his jacket.
Yeah, so
What was with? Okay.
just part of the jacket. WWE has been criticized, and this was under, obviously under Vince. They've been criticized quite a bit for not being able to generate legitimate, credible baby faces.
Right.
This was their chance to do exactly that with Cody.
Yeah.
They had the shot, and they decided instead to stick with Roman.
That's why I gotta wonder if they feel that he was really set up to be a long-term babyface as opposed to just a high-level mid-carder who had a hot storyline.
I think he could, because you had several opponents set up ready to go.
Right.
Seth Rollins, Randy Orton if he comes back, Theory, L.A. Knight. You got all sorts of, and that takes me to my next question. Okay, fine. Roman keeps the title. Now who you got?
Right.
And I will say it. You got nobody left.
I don't know what they're doing.
There is not a credible opponent left
Has
on
he
the
faced
roster.
Bobby Lashley?
Yeah.
It's forgettable, I guess. Yeah, and that's why I said, I'm two minds of it because they did.
I think he has. Even if he hasn't, Bobby's not winning the title from
they
him.
really did miss a moment. That was, like I said, it was the generational thing that could have happened.
I agree.
But like I said, I'm guessing they don't feel that he's the guy yet that can carry it.
But I couldn't disagree more.
Right. But I guess they don't think that yet.
They also meant, like Roman mentioned about how we're in the third inning of this story. The story's been going on for 2.5 years, Stink. Damn it.
This is some old school long-term booking, man.
What are you going to do, have him beat Hogan's record? You're not going to beat Bruno. You're not going to have him hold the title for 8 years.
No.
And I think, I heard people talk about, well, he could reach the 1,000 days.
Yeah, what?
So what? You're still short of Hogan.
Right.
Who cares if 1,000
And
days?
if he wins it at like SummerSlam, that's not bigger than winning at Mania.
And and I'll go back to what I just said. You got nobody left. There isn't a single person on that roster. Cody was the last credible threat that could take the title. And you just washed that away.
And as far as Cody goes, now he's going to be facing Brock. Like Omos they wouldn't have Omos beat Brock. Cody's going to beat him.
You had Brock with a heel turn, which it's like, all right, fine, whatever.
By the way, could they have had some of the match first?
I don't know. I don't know. So.
It feels like, I guess they want to set him up to be an even bigger babyface, to have to go through his own trials and tribulations. Like, it was too easy. Like, he comes into Mania. You know,
he tore his pec.
But as far as
he was out for 9 months.
But as
How
far as
easy?
as far as the matches go, he was undefeated. So he comes in at 30th in the Rumble and wins.
And I think that, I mean, maybe if that's what they're thinking, I think they're
now. This is just me overthinking. I'm trying to figure out what they're thinking, and that's all I can come up with.
I don't know.
They need him to go through his own hard times and become bigger, I guess. And
then we saw it on Monday night. Brock decimates Cody. So I guess we're going to get Brock and Cody, I guess, Backlash.
Summer. And it's surprising that Brock's going to be around this summer.
Well, allegedly his deal's supposed to be up.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised he's going to be around. He's never around. I guess they're going to Saudi Arabia soon, maybe.
As I mentioned, they got part 1 right.
Yeah.
And so
they had do it the
several of us that in the media. So we were credentialed, and we were, they gave us the press conference access. So to take us down to the press conference, before right after the next to last match, before the main event, they gather us up in the press box and take us down to the stadium floor. So we are standing. If you saw where the WrestleMania stage was, we're on the left side, kind of down below it.
If you're looking back up at the stage.
If you're looking up at the stage, we're down to the left.
Okay.
Right, almost right next to it. I mean, it was, and I will tell you, that was an impressive. Yeah. That was an impressive stage.
Oh, it was beautiful.
That was one of the best stages. I would say that one and 33 in Orlando with the roller coaster and everything.
Uh-huh.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Kevin and Sammy, and that's what I was hoping to have on night 2 when Sammy hit that third haluva kick. I mean, and it was a fever pitch.
Yeah.
And, SoFi Stadium has a roof.
Mm-hmm.
So that sound is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Sammy hits the third haluva kick, pins Jey Uso. Place explodes. It was so wonderful.
Right.
It really was. So Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, now you're undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. In the press conference, and it got to me. So
the Snickers got to me.
No, well, yeah. Whole time Sammy's sitting there talking, Kevin is just grabbing. They had these Snickers bars on the desk there. He just kept eating Snickers bars. But and kind of wind back. So at Supercard of Honor, Mark Briscoe, they had him in for the post-event press conference, and I was lucky enough to ask him the first question. I asked him about being in the first Ring of Honor pay-per-view without Jay, and he gave this beautiful answer. And and it still hurts that Jay Briscoe's no longer with us. And in fact, when Mark got up, I was sitting on the side. He walks by me. I just gave him a big hug. Told him I loved him. End of the press conference, Kevin Owens gave, he had to give credit to 2 individuals, Super Dragon, who they worked with in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla way back in the day, and then gave credit to Mark and Jay Briscoe. And
nice.
It was like, damn it, somebody's cutting onions.
Well, the way that they'd had Mark not win the TV title kind of reminded me of Sunday Night.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you think just all this, the emotion, everything's into it, is going to happen, and then wrestling happens.
Yeah, I know. So, Rhea Ripley won the SmackDown Women's title from Charlotte Flair.
That was a good match.
It was a really good match, hard hitting. Bianca Belair retains against Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and we had picked Bianca, but I'll be honest, I think I was still a tiny bit surprised. So,
Yeah.
And Triple H broke our hearts. So,
about the kid.
yeah. If you did not hear, so during the press conference, Triple H told us that the young lady that was doing the contortion and everything and walked down with Bianca,
Yeah, the smallest one, the last one that came out.
her mother had passed away that morning.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. I can't even imagine it'd be that young, lose your mother that morning, and then be able to get out there and do what she did with Bianca. So, amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Night one, they do this. Night two, it's Snoop Dogg and Miz. So night one, we had Pat McAfee come down and impromptu match, beats Miz with help from George Kittle, the 49ers tight end. It was fun.
Yeah.
So night two, they bring out Shane McMahon.
You know,
I was like, good God.
as soon as I saw him, I'm like, Shane's in no shape to wrestle.
Well, apparently he wasn't because, about the second move, he tore his quad.
I'm like, doesn't stretch or anything? Good Lord.
Now, give all the credit to Snoop Dogg, because when that happened and Shane went down, they're tending to him on the side. Snoop Dogg just ad-libbed, hit the people's elbow, pin Miz.
Now, I got to wonder, was that all him or did he have an earpiece in and someone just told him, hey, y'all do something?
No, that was him.
Yeah?
That was him. So
Nice. Although Snoop does not trust those ropes yet.
yeah,
He got lots of air on the elbow.
Yeah,
But he was not willing to put his faith in those ropes.
In addition to a fantastic stage, the entrances this year.
Oh, my God.
First
Speaking
of
of
all,
Snoop-
ex-con Dom.
Oh, man, that was the best.
Oh, my God. By the way, one of the policemen
Mm-hmm.
is Edge Stone, an independent wrestler from here in Texas.
Nice.
It was good. It was cool. But, yeah, that one. Ray coming out with Snoop
Yeah,
Dogg.
speaking of Snoop, I thought Snoop was about to clip one of those guards
Yeah.
when he was driving.
But Ray comes out to Eddie's music, which, that was just beautiful.
And then I thought he was going to come up through the stage as I see him walking into the door at the bottom of it.
They're not going to do that. He's not doing that anymore, I would assume, because his knees are probably shot.
Well, I mean, he still does all this stuff in the ring.
I know.
But
I know.
it's WrestleMania, so I'm thinking, I know he hasn't done it in a long time, but it's Mania. They got this
Oh, you
huge
thought
stage.
he would come? No, they had stairs. There were stairs on
Yeah,
each side.
I thought he was going to go inside it and come
Yeah.
up top. Okay, but then night two other people came out of the stage. So they could have
right. Well, but they didn't jump.
Right.
They didn't jump.
No, but they have the
Speaking
mechanism.
of those two, Brood Edge, and it was even he was Cat Brood Edge.
That's the worst name.
We thought that Gangrel might be with him. He wasn't, but that's okay.
But that mirrored mask thing that he wore.
That was a choice.
That was creepy.
That was a choice.
It was creepy.
Seth Rollins with the conductor. That was fun.
I still hit the mute button.
Cody's, of course. That was, fantastic. So, all in all, some great entrances. A great time, so both
Yeah.
nights.
Although
Although what? Before we take a break.
I still disagree with having Brock go over Omos.
I don't.
Because Brock could have Brock wouldn't have lost a thing and still done what he did Monday night.
Yeah, but Omos didn't lose much.
But now you have him just throwing around Elias. That does nothing for him.
Mm.
But if he had beaten Brock at WrestleMania, superstar. Now
I don't think so.
Now he's he's the mid card. He's Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah, well,
He's El Gigante.
he may be that's because he's probably limited, so. Let's take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll talk about Raw. We'll also recap Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, and NXT Stand and Deliver. After the break, you're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn.
I was ready to stop my recorder, then I remembered I don't have one.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
28:36. All right.
Yeah, sorry to throw you off earlier.
No, it's okay. Okay. Got Zoe Stark and Indy Hartwell for the NXT Women's title. Match made earlier tonight.
I guess we'll get into this in the next segment. But
What's that?
was kind of disappointed with Raw.
Oh, I was very disappointed in Raw. We'll talk about why. Let's just get into it. All right, YouTube, Twitch, I got to mute, but we'll be right back. I promise. Sorry about that. All right, gonna mute you. Be right back. Back here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on the Horn. Stu Myrick, 80 Cross from Fight Night. Before we get to Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, let's briefly talk about Raw. And all the reports saying he's back. Yeah. Vince McMahon was in charge of Raw last night, and boy, could you tell.
Yeah, what did I text you over the weekend?
Good God, it was awful. Now, there are those that are speculating whether this is like a true return to creative, or was he just doing it just because he was in town? And I guess we'll find out Friday night when SmackDown's in Portland.
Yeah.
But, man, that was – and if you believe the talk around the campfire, the reports from PW Insider and Fightful and everybody – it was a true Vince production, last-minute rewrites. They're changing stuff all the way up to airtime and even into airtime. And morale was so low backstage. And there's even been, again, if you believe the rumor and innuendo, there are at least 2 or 3 talents that are saying, if this is the case, I'm asking for a release.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't blame it. It didn't feel like the Raw after Mania. It just felt like a regular
Raw.
Raw.
Wasn't. Didn't have any surprises. I mean, Matt Riddle came back. It's good to see him back. You had Bad Bunny, the deal. He goes through the table thanks to Damian Priest. Now that was fine. That was going because it's going to set up Backlash.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, where's the LWO? They
were
just
cut.
formed.
Yeah, and they were cut. They were cut from the show.
Yeah.
So
at least they could have done is run out and have an appearance.
Yeah.
Just then to save.
And we mentioned Brock Lesnar destroying Cody Rhodes. It was supposed to be a tag match, Brock and Cody against Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. They're going through they get through the introductions, and then Brock immediately turns on Cody. So anyway. Like I said, we will see what SmackDown looks like on Friday.
On the bright side, there were no NXT call-ups, so Vince didn't ruin anybody.
True. I mean, I
would have had Braun Breaker come out in a chicken outfit or something.
I expect Braun Breaker to be called up soon after he dropped the NXT Championship.
Like maybe he'll be on SmackDown.
It's possible.
Maybe he'll be the next one that Roman runs through.
I did go to Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor on Friday night, and I've been to several Supercards. A fantastic show. They always have been, and Tony Khan definitely kept that spirit alive. The opening match of the main pay-per-view, oh my God. El Hijo del Vikingo and Commander.
Oh, yeah.
That might have been one of the greatest matches I have ever seen.
I didn't get to see Supercard. I got to go back. That's all I've heard is how great that first match was.
Oh, my God. Those two, you talk about defying gravity and physics.
Yeah.
Those two were doing things that no human being should be doing.
Did it kind of make you feel like, who was it, Ray and Juventud and ECW back in the day when they first hit the U.S.?
That, Ricochet and Will Ospreay back in the day in Japan. It was just, I mean, my God, that was so good. Vikingo did retain the AAA Mega Championship, but man, both those guys, fantastic, so good. They're just so good. We got a return. Nigel McGuinness back in Ring of Honor as a commentator, the former Ring of Honor World Champion. It was great to see Nigel. I got to chat with him just real brief. Just told him welcome back at the press conference. It was good to see him. The one title change, which was a surprise.
I'm surprised.
Katsuyori Shibata is your new Ring of Honor Pure Champion, beating Wheeler Yuta. Great match, as you would expect from not only Yuta but Shibata.
Or anyone going for the Pure title. Yeah.
I mean, Shibata is just a technician. So good. But, yeah, great match. But Shibata, what a match. It was so funny during the press conference. So he brought, Shibata came in to talk to the media. And when Tony Khan had walked into the press conference, he sees George Napolitano, my dear friend, legendary photographer, Hall of Famer. And so towards the end of the press conference, he goes, I got to do this one just for my own self. Can I ask the legendary George Napolitano to take a picture of me and Shibata? I said, yeah, that's it. Give him some credit. So fantastic.
Amen.
The Reach for the Sky ladder match, oh, my God, that was a car crash and a half.
Yeah, I got that one right.
And sure enough, the Lucha Brothers, the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. But, man, our hearts go out to Dante Martin. Oh, my God. I mean, it was hard to see the spot because it was on the far side of the ring from where we were. But we saw the crash. We saw the jump onto the tables. And then all of a sudden, as the match is kind of going on, we see this stretcher, and it wasn't until later. I think it was Mike Johnson from PW Insider he had gotten the picture of Dante Martin's ankle, and it was snapped. They took him to the hospital. So, I mean, that tag team is just so snake bit. If it's not Dante, it's Darius. But, man, just feel bad for him.
And honestly, with all the stuff that these wrestlers do these days, it's surprising that it doesn't happen more. That's how good they are, that it doesn't happen more. But that's nasty.
Oh, it was nasty. And then the stuff with Mark Briscoe.
Almost
Finn
Balor.
Yeah, and I got to think of Finn had that gash in
they
his
stapled him
head.
at the ring.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe super glue. I didn't think they could.
Well, we could see, there were like the medics. Now, obviously, we're in the press box, so we can't tell what they're doing.
Right. But
we could see there are, there are medical personnel over there.
Same on TV.
It was so that was ghastly. But Mark Briscoe, I mean, that whole arena was on Mark's side, and as I said, he didn't win the TV title, but man, it was emotional.
Yeah, that promo he cut backstage, sitting on the floor, heartbreaking.
And when he came out, when Lucha Brothers won, hugged them, and the Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, they hugged Mark, and man,
it's good that they had new titles.
Yeah,
so we can just retire his and Jay's.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, all in all, just a fantastic show. Kudos to Tony and everybody Ring of Honor. Tony was made sure to let us know multiple times that, and we're taping this on Tuesday night, so AEW Dynamite this Wednesday, he's got a very important announcement. I even said, how important, Tony? Very important. So there's supposed to be an announcement. If you're
not another reality show, is it?
I don't know.
His important announcents have been kind of flat.
We'll see. If you're listening to us on the horn, you know what it is by now. So,
are they gonna buy Bellator?
NXT Stand and Deliver Saturday. It was at 10 a.m. in Los Angeles. Both the top titles changed hands, so congratulations. Carmelo Hayes winning the NXT title, and Indy Hartwell surviving that ladder match to win the NXT Women's title.
The ending with Dexter Loomis.
Yes,
dude,
Index is back.
that was awesome.
That was good
I
stuff.
might have marked out a little bit.
You also had Alba Fire, and Ela Dawn winning the women's tag titles, and of course now we'll have the rivalry between Fallon Henley and Kiana James.
And Kiana James needs to ease up on the bronzer or the tanning.
Yeah.
She's dark as I am, dude. That's weird.
Right. They had, and then the Schism versus Chase U match was actually a kickoff show match.
Yeah, I was surprised.
And Chase U got the victory.
I was also surprised there. And now I'm surprised again when I see what you have written down here because I didn't know this.
Because, again, the rumor and innuendo, the talk around the campfire, reports from Wrestling Observer and others that the Dyad, also known as the Grizzled Young Veterans, they have requested and have been granted their release from WWE.
Now, part of me doesn't blame them because as GYV, they were very underutilized. Kind of underutilized the Schism, but at least there's something to it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of
Well,
surprised
they have
leave now.
apparently one or both of them has a wrestling school in the UK. So, they can go back and, do the kind of, do the indie scene in the UK and run their wrestling school. So
Well, they could have been part of NXT Europe.
they might. We don't know when that's going to come about. But, so, Steve, we got new champions. As I mentioned, expect to see Braun Breaker on SmackDown or Raw sometime soon.
Overalls, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll come back. We'll let you know what's happening in independent wrestling around the state. You're listening to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, and you're listening to The Horn, where Austin talks wrestling. Oh, you okay?
I'm just ruining your show, man.
No, it's fine. You're fine.
And now my damn work phone's going off, too. What the dude?
Man, all sorts of stuff.
It's going to... Warning Central Texas. I get all these emergency alerts.
Oh, I get those too. Yeah.
Which means National Weather Service issued a red flag warning for tomorrow.
By the way, I guess we become friends with Bet Online because they retweet every time I put odds for stuff.
Oh, well. You're promoting
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Red flag warning.
Now I'm going to get one in Spanish. And I'm going to get a phone call. And then I'm going to get a phone call in Spanish. Wait, maybe if I reply, maybe they'll stop.
That's funny. But yeah. Do that.
So, silence
Fire
that.
weather warning, yes.
And I thought I forwarded this phone to my personal phone.
Yeah.
Which is silenced, so I wouldn't have to silence this one, but I still wouldn't miss anything just in case. And then it starts texting. I'm like, son of a... Because I'll forget to unsilence this one. Then I'll get in trouble for not answering it. God. I swear, dude.
So apparently Cora Jade is back. She put her hat in the ring for the NXT Women's Championship. We have not seen Roxanne Perez. It was good to talk to her on Friday.
Yeah.
Sweet girl. Of course, watched her matches in reality wrestling and throughout the independents here in Texas.
Yeah, I didn't realize Indy had been on ROW too.
Yeah. Yeah. Booker gets all the folks.
Yeah.
So
why wouldn't you go there?
He's got a great setup. He really does.
Got his own gym.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's an arena, and then in the gyms in the back, with the two rings.
It's like the Performance Center.
So, all right. Let's do the third one.
All right.
Back here on Sports Guys Talking Wrestling, Stu Myrick, Eddie Cross from Fight Night. I had a lot of fun telling folks about my Hiroshi Tanahashi story. Of course, saw him at Supercard of Honor defeating Daniel Garcia. So good to see him in the ring, and you know, I smile every time I see him. By the way, saw some great, you know, got to reunite with some great folks. A lot of good friends. Mike Johnson from PW Insider, Nick Hausman from House of Wrestling. Got to see Adam Wilborn from What Culture Wrestling. Of course, George Napolitano. It was good to see him. Dominic D'Angelo from Wrestling Inc. Great to hang out with him. Just a fun weekend. Man, it was so much fun. And just to be able to hang out with him and chat and talk and everything, it was a lot of fun.
Now, see, I call you my wrestling encyclopedia. So when you're with all those guys, who's the encyclopedia of that group?
Probably George.
Yeah.
George has some great stories. But he's been doing this almost longer than I've been alive.
Sheesh.
I mean, you know, like I said, he's been around it all. So I got a few independent cards to tell you about that's happening this weekend. We will start with New Texas Pro Wrestling presenting a Fistful of Dollars Saturday at Campbell Hall in Pasadena. Bell time 7 p.m. Central. Speedball Mike Bailey will be there. Brian Keith will be there. High On, T. Ray Watford, and more. That's New Texas Pro Wrestling this Saturday in Pasadena. Metroplex Wrestling has Destiny Saturday at the MPX Event Center in Bedford at bell time 8 p.m. Central. Chris Bay, one half of the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions in Bullet Club, will be there. Abaddon, Aaron Eagle, Tatum Manning, and more. That's Metroplex Wrestling this Saturday night in Bedford. And then Infamous Wrestling presents Easter Rising Sunday at Come and Take It Live on Riverside Drive here in Austin. Bell time 7 p.m. Central. Stallion Rogers, Warhorse, Vert Vixen, Aaron Mercer, and more. That's Infamous Wrestling this Sunday night here in the beautiful ATX. And that's a look at independent wrestling around the area. Wherever you may be, go out and support independent wrestling. So, yeah, as I mentioned, it was so good just to be with folks. I got to meet it was Friday after the press junket.
Okay.
I'm having lunch there at the Marriott in Los Angeles at LA Live. And I look down the bar, and there is Terry Taylor.
Nice.
Now, you called him Red Rooster, but I remember him as one of the best wrestlers out of Mid-South Wrestling.
No, I actually remember
through the 5-arm.
more as the NWA TV champ.
UWF TV champ.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember more there.
Which
I didn't actually
Mid-South became.
Yeah, I didn't actually see him as the Red Rooster until like after it was over and people made fun of the gimmicks.
His battles with Nikita Koloff, fantastic. And he was sitting with Fit Finlay.
Wow.
Who was just tough as nails Irishman. Saw him wrestle in WCW.
Yeah.
Of course, his son, David Finlay, now turned up with New Japan. So I was able to chat with them briefly, got a picture. It was really good to see them.
I didn't see that one posted.
Yeah, it's on there somewhere.
I'm bad at social media.
But yeah, so much fun. I got to pay tribute to a television show I watched as a child back in the early to mid 70s called Emergency, about these two firefighter paramedics doing rescues. So the Los Angeles County Fire Museum, I was able to go there and where they have the original they have the Squad 51 and both engine 51s that were used on the TV show. They have them displayed there. So
there it is.
It was really cool. Yeah. Squad 51, 10-4 KMG 365. So yeah, a lot of good stuff.
It's like when I went to LA and was it 21, I made sure to go to 311 Studio in West Hollywood.
Yeah.
And just take a selfie outside. And I looked awkward and weird, but I was like, it's Mecca.
So anyway, we do want to pass on our condolences. Butch Miller, Bushwhacker Butch, Sheep Herders. He passed away Sunday night at the age of 78. He'd been having some health issues In fact, it was Luke that reported it to us. So all our best wishes to the family and friends of Butch Miller.
Man, they were so gloriously violent back in the day.
I got to see in person in Longview, Texas, sheep herders. It was either with between them and the Fantastics, or it was them and no, I think it was Fantastics. I thought it was Steve Williams and Ted DiBiase, but I think it was Fantastics instead in a barbed wire match.
Wow. I know that had to be bloody as hell.
It was. And this was 1986.
Yeah, those guys had
in Longview, Texas.
They had Dusty Rhodes foreheads by the time they got to WWF.
Yes. So, yeah, anyway, best wishes to the family and friends of Bushwhacker Butch Miller, who passed away at the age of 78. So, Eddie, tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Eddie Experience, 1 E in the middle. You can find the show at Fight Night ATX everywhere. And real quick, if you're into that sort of thing, you can find Jordan and his choir singing at the Long Center Friday night.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
So a little good Friday jam for you.
Okay.
Well, not you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's good Friday stuff.
That'll do it for this week's Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Justin Smash Simmons will be back with me sometime, but in the meantime, you can follow him on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at The Smash Simmons. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Stu Myrick. That's STEWMYRICK. You can follow the show on Twitter and Twitch at SGTWATX. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. We live stream most Tuesday nights on YouTube and Twitch, 7:30 p.m. Central. You can also catch us Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Central on the flagship radio station for University of Texas Athletics. We are The Horn, 104.9, 101.9 FM and AM 1260. Or you can catch us anytime on demand by either going to hornfm.com and click on the On-Air tab, or by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast provider. Make sure you rate and review us while you're there. For Eddie, I'm Stu. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you at the matches.
Goodbye and good night. Bang!
And there we go. Hey, Wesley.
You know what?
Who retained and is going to defend against Axiom.
You gonna do like a little shadow box for your credentials and stuff from this past weekend?
Actually,
There's
right there.
Oh yeah, I see.
And there's my Jay Briscoe armband.
Okay, yeah, I think you need to kind of like that one there in New Japan. You need to put those together like the whole weekend thing.
Well, but I've got multiple WrestleManias. That's my WrestleMania shelf.
Good point.
So you got my name card from 32 and 38. I got the Sugar Skulls from 38 and 39. Credential from 32. Well, 33. 32 is hanging with the picture. That's from this weekend.
That's badass, dude.
Yeah.
What were they selling that?
They did a WrestleMania Superstore at the LA Convention Center. In fact, I think it was the same room where I was at for Super Bowl 56 Radio Row.
Oh,
yes.
That's gorgeous.
And it's got the...
Yeah. Man, I wish I'd known about those.
Yeah. I think it's like $20, $25 maybe.
They're not online, are they?
They might be.
Oh, I gotta find that. So I have a little skull collection myself.
They ran out of the... So you see I got some like I was there pins. They ran out of them. So I had to buy one off eBay. Luckily, it was only I spent only like $10 more on eBay, so no big deal.
Nice.
But yeah, and I've already added photos to the photo frame. So
cool.
as those rotate through, they didn't. They usually give us like a gift bag of some sort. They didn't do that this year, which I'm not. I wasn't too hurt about it.
But you would think with that little influx of cash they got, they could have,
Well, from what I
I think
hear,
they spent it all on the stage.
from what I heard from my colleagues, apparently WWE's PR staff is down to the bare bones.
Really?
and they didn't have much time to do much of anything. So, we'll see. I don't know, but all in all, it was a great weekend in Los Angeles. I was trying to think of there was anything else. This is more of just do the wrestling stuff. I didn't make it to WrestleCon.
Yeah, that's a rarity.
Which, I kind of regret not going. But I just didn't make it. What was funny was, let's see. So I met Terry Taylor and Fit Finley. I get done, and I walk out to the front of the hotel of the Marriott there. I was waiting on Uber, and Tyler Bate from NXT.
Oh, the big strong boy.
He came by, so I chatted with him briefly, talked to him for a moment. I think there were a couple New Japan wrestlers staying there, too. There's one that I thought I recognized, but I couldn't be for sure.
Oh, yeah, they had the multiverse.
Because they did the multiverse thing with Impact Wrestling.
Thursday.
Apparently, the match with, was it? Oh, it was Vikingo and I think Speedball Mike Bailey at one of the collector shows.
Okay.
That was one of those. Good God, that's another one of those must see matches. So, it's WrestleMania weekend is one of those weekends. If you love pro wrestling, it's in your interest to go. Even if you don't go to WrestleMania, yes, they had a football helmet.
Yeah.
Even if you don't go to WrestleMania, they've got all those independent shows, like I said, either the WrestleCon shows or the GCW Collective.
Yeah.
You'll see some wrestling.
You're sitting there watching WrestleMania, and you see the goofballs in the front row, and you're like, how much did those goofballs spend on those tickets?
I have no idea. But
I know it's way up there. And
so they have the chairs. I've got my two from the two Arlington WrestleManias.
Right.
They have those chairs, and they were run. So on the hard cam side, they went at least 10 rows deep on those chairs. There was a lot of them.
That's a good marketing opportunity because people will buy them.
Oh, they will?
Yeah.
They will. Absolutely.
Well.
So, trying to think of anything else. Met a couple more, met a few more colleagues. One guy that writes for a magazine out of Ottawa in Canada.
Okay.
It was nice to chat with him. I'm a huge Letterkenny fan, so, I was loving it. Let's see who else. There were several others. It is amazing. All the folks that, when I went in Friday for the press junket, all of the media that were there to get interviews. And I thought I did pretty well. I missed out on Miz, but I wasn't too worried about it. I did see him a couple times. And it was kind of neat. So walking out of the little banquet room that we were at in the Marriott, as I'm heading to the stairs, Kevin Owens walks by. So I just said hi.
Nice.
Told him, be safe. Saw Braun Breaker. Trying to think who else I saw. There was a
you
couple
didn't see
others.
his dad, did you?
No. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Man, not a good look.
Talk about ruining your legacy in one outburst.
Well, hopefully they don't hold that against Braun.
Yeah.
But
Vince is back, so they're not,
True. But it was like I said, just a good time. Brad Gilmore, who co-hosts the show with Booker T on 97.5 in Houston.
Okay.
The only other wrestling radio show in the state of Texas besides us. Two of us. That's it.
Hey,
Booker T and me.
You and Booker T, rarefied air. Both Hall of Famers.
And I will take that any day of the week. I I know Dustin was out there. I didn't see him. I texted him a couple times. But yeah, just it's like I said, it's one of those weekends that you just have to, again, if you love wrestling, next year it's Philadelphia, and it's so funny, so at first I was thinking, I'm not going to go to Philadelphia, but then I think it was Mike that started talking about, well, they're probably going to do shows at the ECW arena.
Oh, they got it.
And I'm thinking, well, dadgummit, now I got to go so I can go to the ECW arena.
And a friend of mine we were talking about who's left to put in the Hall of Fame. And he's like, well, they're going to be in Philly. You know who that means? I was like, who? Paul Heyman. I was like, ooh.
I don't know. I don't know if they will do that yet or not.
It might be a little early for him, but then he's also mentioned RVD. I'm like, isn't he already in?
RVD's in.
Yeah. I'm like, and who's left big enough? Like, not ECW-wise, but just like 80s, 90s, WCW, WWE. Who's left?
Actually, somebody was.
That's big.
There was somebody mentioned Miss Elizabeth. She needs to go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It is criminal that she's not in the Hall of Fame.
They can finally put in China by herself.
That one, yeah, I would love to see that. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But Miss Elizabeth for sure.
Yeah. Definitely should. I love Stacy Keibler, but Elizabeth should have been in.
Batista. I think he would have gone in this year if he wasn't filming something. So you're probably going to see him go in possibly next year.
He's in with Evolution, right?
Evolution's not in.
It's not?
Nope.
I thought it was.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
I thought Batista was in.
Because that would mean Randy Orton and Flair and Triple H, and now Triple H is in as part of DX.
Right.
But I mean, you got some of those Attitude Era stars. Dustin is Goldust.
Yeah.
That needs to happen.
Will they do like Dustin or Mark Henry while they're still working for AEW though?
Mark Henry's in. Mark Henry's a Hall of Famer.
That's right.
Dustin, I'm sure they'll wait until his deal ends with AEW, which I think is this summer.
It was the Big Show I was thinking of.
Big Show's in.
Is he?
Yep.
I don't watch Hall of Fame ceremonies.
Big Show's in. Paul White is in. Mark Henry's in. If I'm not mistaken, Dustin's AEW deal ends this summer, and I got a feeling that he would possibly go in pretty soon because he's still on good terms with WWE.
Yeah.
So there's that. Trying to think of who else. There's quite a few. I think
It's like the top names.
If you're thinking like ECW types,
I'm not. But
RVD's in. I could see Tommy Dreamer, although he's contracted to the Impact right now.
Yeah, I'd be surprised though. I don't think he did enough, especially under the WWE banner, for them to consider him.
Well, but Muta did nothing under the WWE banner.
Right.
And he's in.
True. But look,
Muta
I
did
love
the mist.
I love Tommy Dreamer, but I wouldn't put him on Muta's level.
No, well, it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Yeah. Muta is one of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens next year. So, all right. Thanks to everybody for joining us on YouTube and Twitch. I hope you enjoyed the show. And I think we'll be back next week. Either me and Eddie, me and Justin. Might be me and somebody else. So, but for now, for Eddie, I'm Stu. Have a great rest of your week. Be kind.